Chapter 31 The Tipping of the Ship. Before he had practiced overbearing true chi, Fan Xian would never have thought that a human body of flesh and blood could be harder than stone. But when he had just slapped a palm print on the stone surface, he gave up on that idea. But he still didn't think that someone could jump off a cliff dozens of feet high and still be fine, especially without losing any speed in the middle. The 5 bamboos helped him disprove this idea, and at the same time gave him an incomparable shock, so it turned out that the real caliber of the superpowers in this world was so terrifying. The black cloth over 5 bamboos' eyes turned into a bizarre black silk during the high-speed descent, while his body, like a swift and thunderous arrow, stomped towards that small boat. He did not use any light skill, just so by the gravitational force of the earth to let himself fall freely, in the distance of dozens of feet, keep accelerating, when finally to step on the bow of the boat. The speed has been fast to a kind of jaw-dropping speed. The body cut through the air, a little faster than the wind, making a buzzing, terrifying sound. The momentum he carried preceded his body and reached the top of the boat, violently lifting the bamboo hat of the singer in the boat. The hat flew up and fell far into the sea, revealing the singer's face. The singer's appearance is simple and ancient, a pair of eyes as quiet as the autumn water, at this time looking at the head of the feet in the air, but the pupils are shrinking, the essence of the light appeared. A pair of white jade-like hands, outside the sleeve gently dance, like a withered branch sprouting like knuckles scattered, countless channels of airwaves from the singer's fingertips sprayed out. Was born in the 5 bamboo crashed into the boat before the rapid shooting in the waves on top of the sea, will be up and down in the white waves of the fishing boat forcibly pushed back 2 steps place. It is this 2 steps, 5 bamboo like a piece of heavenly stone, ruthlessly smashed in the bow of the boat, but not smashed in the body of the singer. Before the sound of the wind arrived, 5 bamboo's feet had already stepped hard on the front of the wooden boat. This kind of power from the sky was simply not something a small boat could withstand. Kala. A loud bang. The whole boat was stepped on by this huge force and rooted downwards into the sea water below, with its tail high up, immediately and swiftly penetrating into the sea. The singer was jolted skyward by this recoiling force, his hands splayed out in the air in a slightly lopsided manner. Water splashed everywhere, the bow of the ship was shaken apart by this strong impact and sank to the bottom of the sea. A black shadow broke through the water, and the sky splash, embellished on the air that is fluttering singer, in an instant, out of the finger like a sword, ruthlessly stabbed at the singer's throat. The singer's hands were staggered, and his scattered hands were like the beams of a house, extremely stable and aesthetically pleasing in front of himself, barely sealing off this surefire strike from 5 bamboos. A light burst of sound rang out in the air. This was the result of the mutual impact of the energy, and it was not known that in such a short moment, these 2 supreme powerhouses had made several moves. A moment later, the 2 figures swiftly separated, respectively landed on both sides of the extremely narrow strip of sandy beach under the cliff. On the surface of the sea, the debris of the small boat slowly floated out of the water, looking like the residue in a jar of Chinese medicine, leaving only half a piece of the boat's stern floating without a master, very bleak. The assassination was unsuccessful, so you'll have to accompany my boat money. The singer looked at the black cloth over Gajira's eyes and smiled. After saying this, he stretched his hand out, reaching out to 5 bamboos from a distance, as if he was trying to demand compensation from the other party. He and 5 bamboo were separated by 3 feet, but with this reaching out, 5 bamboo frowned and moved 2 steps backward with his feet strangely fast and unparalleled, sidestepping the direction the other party's fingers were reaching out. A rustling sound, 5 bamboo previously stood place, the sand surface a dense, just should be the poem, rain hit the beach 10,000 points of the pits. Separated by a distance of 3 feet, a faint wave of the hand, the energy will penetrate the sand surface, this cultivation, look at the world, there are not a few people. Why are you here? 5 bamboo slightly sideways head, face although there is no expression, but can be seen, than usual to be much more cautious. I fought you 16 years ago, and since then, I've never found an opponent worth fighting against. The singer replied with a smile, "Last year I went back to Kyoto. That Yichon kid said that he hadn't been able to find your whereabouts all these years, and I thought that you had really followed Ms. Yi to another world, and I couldn't help but drink 2 cans of wine, one of which I poured on the ground and dripped 2 tears. This year I came out to travel again. Just now in the sea across a long distance I felt a very powerful chi, so I came to take a look at where I thought that it was actually you." The song sighed angrily, "More than 10 years of not seeing an old friend. How do you have to kill me as soon as you meet? You know very well that I cannot kill you. You cannot kill me." Five Bamboo inclined his head in thought and seemed to recognize this fact. The singer knew that this blind man was a bit eccentric in nature. If the other party could kill himself, he was only afraid that he could really lay his hands on him, so he couldn't help but smile and ask, after the young lady's return, "I thought that you would go back to the Temple of God. Why did you come to Tanyu Harbor? You know why I want to kill you." Five Bamboos did not answer him. Instead, he said coldly, "In this world, there are only a few people who know me, and among them, you are the one with the biggest mouth." The singer looked embarrassed, not knowing how to answer. Five Bamboos continued, "So if I can kill you to shut you up, I'll be happy to do so." The singer shook his head with a bitter smile and sighed, "You still have that horrible temper. It's really rare to see those who have cultivated to a realm like yours and mine and are still as murderous as you." Five Bamboos shook his head and said, "I only care about the outcome and never consider the means." He suddenly frowned and said, "Since I see someone you're interested in, let's go," said dryly. The singer first choked, then burst into a long, loud laugh, arched his fist, and said with a smile, "Actually, I am not a talkative person." After saying these words, he waved his arms and short sleeves, and with his hands behind his back, he daintily floated on top of the short, half-broken boat on the surface of the sea, and he didn't know how the boat was made. With only half of it left, it was actually still able to float. He stood on top of the broken boat, his hands made a rowing gesture, and he actually used his inner strength to guide the broken boat in the direction of Tanyu City in such a funny and incomparable way. Five Bamboos looked at the direction he left, the black cloth dimming. "Who is he?" Fan Xian, who had climbed down from the peak, didn't hear the conversation between the two powerhouses at the bottom of the cliff, and was still immersed in the shock of witnessing the battle of the superpowers just now. "Yi Luyun." Sure enough, Fan Xian sighed, following behind Five Bamboos, also heading in the direction of Tenyuzu.